Welcome to Haunt Topic Radio, the podcast for haunters by haunters. These are our scary visions.
So resetting is very important, especially in a haunt situation where we have thousands of guests coming through. If the actors are just kind of coming out there and standing there and talking to people, it really is missing a lot of a lot of the scare quality and a lot of the scare factor. You can have those interactions if there's a character that is more interactive. You can have that interaction, but they should still be moving in, getting a scare, and coming back out, so that they have that power, that ability to, I can get a scare here, I can do this here, I can be part of the scene, more people can see me, and then I'm in your face because now I'm stepping in. So it's that get in, get the scare, get out.
If you are a member of our Hunter's Toolbox group, you can join our Zoom link. Check your email. There should be a Zoom link in there. You can come in our Zoom room. Everyone else on Facebook, tonight is going to be about scare actor training, managing, training, hiring, anything about scare actors. We're going to try to cover it because I know it's close to the season. I mean, season's already here. Some people have already done their scare actor training. Some people are in the middle of it right now. So, and there's things that we can use throughout the season as well, because we're going to talk about all different types of techniques and safety and getting drunk customers out of the haunt. We're going to try to cover it all. So please ask your questions in the chat room on Facebook and in Zoom. Daryl, say hi, Daryl.
Hi, Daryl. Oh, no, I'm Daryl. Yeah.
That's what we do every time.
Old school.
Old school. Dad jokes.
Absolutely.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
I can
we
hear
go,
you now.
There we go. Yeah, John, they got my name, but David Gricius.
Yeah, there you go.
And so we're currently at Fright Nights at the South Florida Fairgrounds. We are the main actor trainers. We also did this at Enigma Haunt beforehand, which was in Boca Raton, which unfortunately closed down, and we're still dealing with that emotionally. But right now we're at Fright Nights at the South Florida Fairgrounds, having a great time doing the actor training there. So,
How long?
Do you want anything else you want me to start off? I mean,
how long were you in Enigma Haunt?
Yeah, I was there for around 9 years. Dave, 10.
Yeah, about 10 years for me.
Yeah,
10 or 11. We always have the back and forth with that. I think it's 11, but we're saying
he got the 10-year award, and I only was there for 9 years before it closed, so I got an honorary.
Yeah. So how long has it been since you've been? Was there a gap between Fright Nights and there, or was it kind of a smooth transition between the two?
Yeah, it was a smooth transition. We knew South Florida Fairgrounds, Fright Nights at the South Florida Fairgrounds. We knew the management and a lot of the actors. We're a close knit family, pretty much, with all the haunts around us. So Alex was very warming. Fright Nights was very warming to invite us over when they heard, and half of our team got another haunt down south, and then we went a little bit north to Fright Nights. So it was a relatively smooth. We did take it easy. First time in like 11, 10 years where we actually took off for Halloween and, went and go see some haunts and things like that. So it was a nice little getaway for me and Sammy over here.
Yeah. But I think one of the nice things about it is that we did have, as Dave said, a good relationship with the haunts in the area around us. So, I mean, I've heard some stories about haunts that are in the same area that have problems with each other or have this, competition in a less than cordial and fun, productive way. And we really didn't have any of those problems. We worked together as part of a same haunt community. So when Enigma Haunts closed down, they kind of adopted us, and some, half the crew went to Fright Nights and half the crew opened up their own. So, a little bit further south. I think that's a good story for the idea of haunts getting together and cooperating.
Yes. What was your the crew size? Was it a smaller crew size, the bigger crew size, or was it about the same?
it was a much smaller crew at Enigma Haunt. So we had anywhere from, so on paper, at some point, it seemed like we sometimes maybe had 60 to 80, but I would not say that that is what we had in the haunt at any time.
Yeah.
We had about average, it was like 30 to 40, and we hit 90, but that was like, small haunt, first time, like first day that most of the people were there, and then, first day, first weekend, and everybody's like, oh, this is too much. And we had a lot of fallout over the weeks and things like that. But our average like crew was like 30 to 40 people that were there constantly and going crazy. And it felt like 100.
And now we're working with actually 150. So we have both the smaller, more intimate haunt and the larger haunt experience, working through both of those different styles. And they are different animals to work with for training, coordinating, pretty much everything.
I think Scarlet badges are one of the smartest things I've seen in the industry in a really long time. Scarlet badges are basically either pins or embroidered patches, kind of like merit badges, as they are, somewhat named after, from Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and Brownies, and where after you've accomplished something, you can wear the brag tag of the embroidered patch. Some haunts put them on jackets, some put them on t-shirts, some put them on, with the pins, I've seen them put them on lanyards. But the neat thing about them is they are very specific in what they are rewarding. And they're haunt-based images that reflect what's being rewarded. It's retention, it is bringing people back, and it's actually giving your haunters, your haunt performers, the ability to share that they are haunt performers. And, oh really, you're a scare actor. Where do you do that? And then they will insert the name of your haunt right there. So it's also marketing. I've always been a big fan of Scarlet badges. I think they're great. So check them out, scarletbadges.com. No, that is not a paid advertisement. That is just my recommendation. I think it's really cool.
ScottSwinson.com.
What does your structure look like? I mean, you have zone leaders, you're breaking down by room. How does that work?
You want to take it, Jonathan? You want me to?
Yeah, you take that. That's,
Yeah, we have, since we have 4 houses inside one building, and then we have the outside midway area, 2 scare zones, we have at least 5 house leaders every year, depending on how many houses we have. This year we have 4 houses inside and 1 scare zone, or 2 scare zones outside, so we have 5 house leaders total, and then we have 4 breakers for each haunt inside, and then we have 2 extra breakers outside. So we got a total of 18 breakers and 5 house leads this year. So they all go through their own training, and they got to take care of all the actors and make sure the haunt runs smooth. That's what their main goal is. So we got a lot of helping hands.
And it's even more necessary, the larger the crew is, the more that you need these helping hands, and the more you need these layers of actors, sort of almost lower management in some ways, to be able to handle and take care of all of the actors.
You guys have
that's
like
what we tell. That's what we tell our actors is, this is a job, so this is structure. So you gotta listen to your breakers and your house leads. They might have the most experience or whatnot, but some of them might not. Some of them might just be great, and we're trying to train them. But everybody has to listen to everybody and help out and work out together.
You guys have meetings before the show begins, after the show begins, both?
Well, we have separate management meetings where we go over whatever we need to go over, and then we do have meetings before we open, sometimes meetings after we open. Not after we open, after the night. Some nights it's just a thank you very much and let them go. Sometimes we have food there, So we have meetings. We try to stay in communication with the actors and try to keep communication flowing. That's one of the big things that we try to do is have open communication. I believe Dave, during training, Dave makes sure that that's all him. I mean, I should even let you talk about it.
Yeah, I'm a parrot when it comes to anything like that. Communication is key. I mean, that's in a haunt, that's in any business. You need to make sure your actors feel comfortable communicating with you. Your management needs to be able to communicate back to every actor possible. there's so many different personalities and just individuals that we need to keep the communication up so you don't have any rumors going around or just someone feels out of place. To me, a haunt has to feel very comfortable. I've never been out of shape with anything. I've loved the haunt community. So whenever I have to communicate with any actor, anybody in management, I treat them with the utmost respect because I just have so much passion and respect for everything in this. So I drive communication, all the trainings, everything that we can say, communicate. And then when we do have meetings like before the haunt opens or after the haunt's closed, we'll have a meeting and I'll always say something with communication. Just because if anybody's having a terrible night beforehand or after, communicate so we can work it out before you get in there and have a terrible day or terrible weekend or whatever it is. Just always driving communication. It's number one.
Yeah, and sometimes you have the actors that are shy and don't want to talk to your lead, and then they tell you at the wrap up party at the end of the season, I was like, oh, that mask was so uncomfortable or something. And it's like, well, why didn't you tell us? Well, I don't know. It's like, we can't help you if we don't know. Despite what we say, we are not psychic. Psycho, possibly. Psychic, no.
Yeah. We can't help everybody, but we can at least try.
And so if you've got 4 houses, do actors switch between houses throughout the season? Frequently, occasionally, not at all?
Occasionally they do. Like if we're short or anything like that, we'll swap them out. But for the most part, we try to hire and place them, so they're in that haunt. They're comfortable with the individuals that are in the haunt, so they're rocking and rolling through the whole season. But we will change if there's a shorthanded or a call out, someone gets sick or whatnot, or anything like that. Well, everybody has to be open.
Yeah, call-outs never happen.
Never.
But so then if you've changed an actor to another haunt, how does that team lead interact with them? It's like, I don't know who you are other than your name because I've seen you on the roster.
Well, when we're in training, first of all, we don't set up like the basic trainings for for the specific haunts or for specific this. The training is very general training. We are training them to be haunt actors, just across the board. And we're going to train the starters. We're going to train the character work. We're going to train a little bit so that everybody has a little bit of a feeling of everything, so that when we do switch somebody from one haunt to another, it's not going to be that much of a shock. It's probably going to be more of a shock for the costumer than it is for the team. Because even during the trainings, we're now, as Dave said, we're instilling the communication. We also have the house leads up with us to help out with the training, so that they are always in front. So the actors are seeing who they are, so that even if we're kind of switching around, we still have that communication. It's not suddenly, oh, here's a brand new person in a brand new place and they're lost. They shouldn't be lost. And we work very hard to make sure that nobody's lost.
Yeah, and on that point, we have the house leaders and breakers, and we train them to make sure they're taking care of our actors. But now with the Fright Nights, now me and John, then we have a training team, so we have 2 to 3 other individuals at least always helping us out that are part of our team that know all the trainings, knows how we have separate meetings by ourselves, and when we place an actor in there, then someone has to go and show that actor what's required of them. So get them feel comfortable, but we don't just like, here, go to this house, you're doing this. We'll usually try to go in there, and we do it throughout the night. We'll go in there and help them out and tell them exactly how it's supposed to work and how they feeling. So we'll go check on that person every once in a while. So constant communication, constant training.
Training does not stop at just the actor trainings that we run. It's also during the season, we're constantly trying to check up on them.
How do you guys, I know we used to have a Facebook group and then some people didn't use Facebook group. You guys use text messaging, other platforms?
We use Facebook when they get hired. We try to make sure we take anybody out that's no longer with us for years or definitely any problem childs. Usually not that too many of those, but we'll remove them from it. Yeah, we use that one. We do use Instagram and things like that, but Facebook's a big one. And then really, to contact all the actors right now, I've been using a lot of Google Forms, Google Voice, things like that, being able to email everybody. But just as a social thing, whoever has Facebook, we do have a Facebook page. So we get everybody on there. That's where we do our events, or we have the halfway to Halloween party, barbecue, and then we have the awards after the season, things like that. So we do have that for the most part. That it gets most of the people, at least 70 or 80%.
Yeah, I know, especially managing over 100 people. That, like I was doing like text groups, 'cause I only
Yeah.
had a small number of people. So I can imagine trying to manage over 100 people in a text message. That'd be
Yeah,
hectic.
Yeah.
it's emails.
So,
Emails have been great, even though a lot of people, don't use email. Definitely newer, younger generations, they just have an email and it fills with spam and it gets full, and then they don't respond because they don't see it or you're not able to get it. But I tell everybody I'm using Google Forms. I'm emailing you guys all this information. If you don't use your emails, use it for this. Empty everything you got in it. Obviously, it's useless, and just keep an eye out for my email. I do my best to communicate with you, so I send them all the forms or anything I need filled out, or just helpful information throughout the season, even
Yeah,
before the
we've
season.
got two different Facebook groups for ours. Currently, this year we've got 150 to 160 actors. So we've got one Facebook group that is this year's people, and then we've got one that is basically our sociables or our alumni. Uh, so the only thing is occasionally you have to police the alumni one because somebody from the new group from this year will post, hey, what about this scene and what do I do in this scene? And it's like, you're giving shit away. Do not tell the old people that decided not to come back this year what's going on, because you've just ruined a surprise. So you kind of got to police it sometimes.
I
Yeah, I
want
mean, we
to.
still have the old one from Enigma Haunt still active. I go randomly on that every once in a while. So, I mean, it's great. It's great to be able to contact everybody, but it's always hard to communicate with everybody. And, everybody has different types of platforms.
Yeah.
I want
Actually,
to.
yeah, we have Facebook groups for all sorts of past. Oh, sorry. Here we
Eggman.
go.
Have you checked out HauntersToolbox.com yet? It's free to join and full of useful information to help you start and grow your own haunted attraction business. All the information on HauntersToolbox.com is created by the pros who do it. We have a library with ebooks and presentations on topics like creating an employee handbook, starting a business plan, or the best types of lights to use at your haunt, plus a lot more. You get instant access to the library plus free video masterclasses by the experts in the haunt industry. Classes like Alan Hops from Dark Hour Haunted House teaching scare acting, or Philip Hernandez from the Haunted Attraction Network teaching marketing and social media, or Leonard Pickle from Hauntpreneurs teaching haunt design and construction. I even got a few master classes in there as well. You don't have to do it alone. Let us help you. We also host monthly live masterclasses to steer you in the right direction so you don't get lost. Once you become a member, you also get instant updates on our next masterclass in your email so you don't miss the next one. And if you need more one-on-one help, there is an option for that as well. I would be honored to help you get your attraction started or help you grow your current one. I know what it takes. Let's talk. If you're interested, you want to start and grow your haunted attraction, go check out HauntersToolbox.com. Don't be scared.
Let's play this video real quick. This kind of gives. This is on the Fright Nights website, SouthFloridaFair.com. You guys want to check out Fright Nights?
Your season of terror has begun. It's time for Fright Nights at the South Florida Fairgrounds. The scares, the thrills, the fun. It's all waiting for you.
We're all a little mad here.
Tickets available at myfrightnights.com. Your season of terror.
So when it comes to the fairgrounds, are you guys completely away from the fairgrounds or kind of mingled in there?
We're separated a little bit. In other words, there's we're part of it. We're on the fairgrounds. We're on the property and on the fairgrounds. And in fact, our haunted houses take up some of the areas that are otherwise used for all of the events. The cow judging or whatever it is used. So I mean, it is the main fairground. The rides form sort of a circle a little bit outside of it. So it's not like you come off a ride and you enter into a haunted house. We have a sort of a separation where we have a midway where guests will come through the midway, and then there's a VIP tent, and then they get funneled into the haunts from there, which is a little bit separated from the rides, but it's all still part of the same event. It's all still open and connected.
Yeah, all easy walking distance. Pretty much one giant oval shaped to where they could just hit whatever they need. Rides on one side, food on another, and then the haunt pretty much dead ahead of them, right in between everything for the most part. A little bit offside, but
yeah,
it's
we
all
don't really
right there.
Yeah, we don't. The actors and scares really don't bleed into that too much. So that's
Kind
that
of
was
keep
about-
your scare zone separate from the people who don't want to be scared.
a little bit.
100%.
There is from working at in the theme park world, there was a standard that was basically don't entertain people that are already being entertained.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, if people are already eating and they're standing around or they're going for standing in the ride or something to that effect, we do not need to entertain them because they're already being entertained. We should be entertaining the people that are not being entertained, or especially the ones that are coming in and towards the haunted houses themselves.
And that kind of allows a little bit of a. So do you see like parents being separated and just letting the kids go through, or do you see kind of the families and the kids going through? Or is it kind of mixed?
We got a little bit of everything. It's not. We don't operate during the South Florida Fair times. So we really are a separate event. So people that are coming to Fright Nights really do know, just generally, that they are coming to, the haunted houses. We have all of the rides, but we don't get as many of the the younger kids. We get them, of course, but we don't get as many. Where the smaller kids are more likely to go to our sort of attached group, which is the Yesteryear Village. I believe that they have a Halloween event as well they have a Halloween event for the younger kids, so that we try not to have the younger kids coming through the haunted house where we're going to terrify them.
So
There has to be a adult on the premises for the kids that do show up. So we are enforcing that. So they have to have an adult on site.
what's the from the very beginning? So let's go to finding actors. You probably guys have a good retention rate. Sounds like everybody probably comes back. But how do you find new actors?
Just social media, a lot of social media. So we're just putting it out there. Facebook. All of the social media outlets, as many as possible. We're putting it out there and just blasting it. Facebook's huge, of course, and everything like that is pretty much the only way we really do it. No commercials or anything like that. Just all the social networks for the most part. Go ahead, John.
And that's a lot of that is on the fairgrounds, which does a lot. Which has a bigger hand in that. We don't have as much of a hand in that. I know that when the commercials for our actors, for seeking actors come out, I will go to like the local theater groups and I'll start posting in there, and I'll be very specific about posting about not only how much fun it is to be a scare actor and how much fun it is to be in a haunt, but also what great experience it is for the local actors, because you get thousands of guests, and you can try all of these different things and you can create these bigger than life characters. And we've gotten a number of theater, sort of the younger theater kids in the area. So at least that's another way to reach out to people, another avenue, as opposed to just going straight for of course we reach out to the horror groups as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We also have street teams that go do events and everything like that. I almost completely forgot. Thank you for reminding me there, Jonathan. But we do have a street team that do all the events. Like we have tattoos events that happen in South Florida, and like UltraCon and different types of cons that happen. So we set up a booth or whatnot and start handing out flyers, and we'll have some of our characters there, and a lot of people will come over for those reasons as well. So we'll hit as many. We have a whole events team that go to all these events and set up shop. And like we have the concerts right there in the South Florida Fairgrounds, so we'll have a little tent up, and a lot of people will go in as they're seeing the concerts. And so that's another big way of how we're doing it. So we're out there guerrilla style, going out and taking over
And
locations.
And on top of that, Dave put recently, because he's doing all of the spreadsheets and the communication aspect of it, he's created these QR codes that are now making it easier for us to, to reach people. And so instead of having to pick up a flyer and remember to call, they can look at it, they can scan it right in their phone right there, and maybe even sign up right there and then. So we are trying some new and different ways.
Interesting. And so do you also get like this year's actors or last year's actors tell friends and invite them, and do you incentivize them or reward them for bringing a new actor into the fold?
They definitely do that. They definitely tell their friends. A lot of communication within everybody that's there. Um, we don't really like. We should. That's a good point. We
We're
should
working on
probably.
it.
Yeah. I think we talked about it once or twice, but we haven't said, "Oh, you bring a friend, you get this." But we do a lot of gifts throughout the season and things like that. Every weekend we give out prizes. We give out these tickets for actors inside, and we have little things for them the whole time, like a whole great prizes that the fairgrounds buys for them. It's great. But
Good.
yeah, we need to start more giving them like little gifts and things like that for bringing people.
One of the things that if they bring a friend, give them some small token. But then if their friend works 10 shifts and or stays the full season without getting their butts fired, then you can give them something a little more grand, give them $50 or whatever.
Absolutely.
If
Yeah.
if they turn out a bring a good actor, because man,
Well, we partially also, I mean, yes, we should, that is definitely a great idea, and we've been talking about that. But part of it is just, we encourage bringing the friends because people are having such a great time that they want to bring their friends. I mean,
yeah.
that's one of the things that we try to promote both in the training and in pretty much everything that we do is promoting that passion because we have it, we're coming back, we love it so much, and if we love it, then we just naturally want to bring friends in so that we can share that with them. So we hope that, and I think that is working well. We actually had a number of people that are just bringing their friends in because they're having such a great time.
This podcast episode sponsored by Scarlet Badges.
We always were looking for ideas to get those actors to take it to the next level. I really want to do something that they can use more than just a meal, or they can use more than just that a boy, that a girl. They love this stuff, but it's not really promoting a haunter. And then I sit down, Scarlet Badges comes out. That's when I realized this is amazing because not only is it giving them an attaboy, but it's also promoting them all year round. And to promote somebody, to give somebody accolades all year round and have them be able to wear it on their shoulder with pride means a lot. This right here says this is who nailed it on this day in this year for the rest of their life, for the rest of their haunting life. And that's what I really love about this product is you're able to give haunting to somebody an attaboy 365 days a year. And so hats off to you guys. I think this is a great product and I wish you the best of luck because it's awesome.
Get your Scare Badges at scarebadges.com.
Now, do you guys do an audition process or an interview process with people that want to be actors?
So our current format is twofold. What we've been doing recently, we've done twice in the past 3 years, is that we have an open actor training, sort of an introduction to haunt acting that's open to anybody. And it's kind of like actually a little bit of an audition because if we see people there and we are getting they have the chance to ask us questions and we give them information. Basically, I'll run them through some basic physical movement, some voice movement, work them together, doing some fun, interesting things, and then we'll start, breaking them off a little bit into doing a little bit more interesting stuff. And so it's kind of a fun day. And people that maybe they had no idea if they wanted to do this or not, if they show up, if they have a great time, maybe they will join. And so that's our Oprah and actor training, which is sort of almost like a hidden audition for us to find and capture people based on just the idea of, hey, this is a free chance to see what it's like. And then after that, then we have our main casting call, which is we have a large auditorium and, all of the social media. Hopefully we'll get as many people there as we can.
I found out the word the word audition kind of scares people. So I like the way you do that because I stopped calling them auditions too. This is our first annual actor meeting. You're invited. Come, and then once they get there,
a lot of people don't want to do. A lot of people don't want to do the one-on-ones or things like that. Sometimes they get really nervous and things. So we don't get the time to really sit down with everybody one-on-one. At times we'd like to, but we just try to talk to them as they're filling out paperwork and they're there on site, and we just tell them right from the start, communication right away. We're like, if you guys need any questions, we all wear the same kind of jersey, the training team, so they could point us out, and they're like, just come and ask us questions and talk to us before you leave, at least, so we could get at least some kind of personal experience with you.
I think not only communication, but getting to speak to them so that they feel like they're being seen is very important. So the more that we can try to get that, and we wear the sort of these team shirts so that we'll be seen, so that they know that they can come up to us. It's a lot easier to find us, and we try to find them and speak to them. And that's what a lot of this is about. I think that the more you can see your actors and the more that they feel like they are part of it, we'll have a better retention rate. They'll have more fun. So that part of training is about that. Part of training is about getting them, out of their shells, of course, but part of it is also helping to make them feel seen by us and our team.
What kind of stuff do you do in the trainings when you start training?
So I like to start, and what we end up doing is we do something called ramping, which basically means that we are going to start them off together as a group, doing things kind of together. And then as we start, going into exercises, they're doing a lot of things together as a group so that they're all kind of being silly and being crazy and doing things together. And then we start making it a little bit more individualized so that they get a chance to try things on their own. The exercises that you choose and use are all skill-based. So in other words, I'm not going to just say, well, here is an improv exercise that I saw on TV somewhere. Wow, I'm just going to put that in the haunt. Everything that we do is studied, whether or not it's a skill. This is body movement. This is, I want them to be able to work on their voices right now. This is a very specific exercise to work on resetting. This is to work on, more characterization. So we have both gleaned from other sources, and for example, I took some exercises from Via Spolin. We take some from Transworld. We take some from Commedia dell'arte, from even from sports activities. I play ice hockey still, not as competitive as I used to when I was younger, but I still play. So we, whatever exercise that we need, and we will make up more if we find something that we need to be able to teach, then we will create an exercise to be able to teach that skill, because that's part of the plan. Now, if you're talking about specific skills, I mean, I could start going down lists.
Maybe just so the listeners have a little bit of context, can you maybe give us a couple of examples? Like, what do you do for specific movement training, or what do you do for resetting, which I'm intrigued on how you teach resetting.
Well, actually,
or different types of scares.
Actually, for resetting, one of the tenets that we have is to get in, get the scare, get out. which is a little bit of, it's kind of stolen from clown college, which is get in, get the laugh, get out. But for me, for us, it's get in, get the scare, get out, because that really is, what a lot of it is about. We really want people to get in and you get the scare and then reset. It's when the actors come back out, when they go back either back to their hole or just to take a step back, that's when they have power, because now they can go in and get a scare again, as opposed to when the guests come by, popping out and then, oh, I'm just going to talk to you while you're passing. So resetting is very important, especially in a haunt situation where we have, thousands of guests coming through. If the actors are just kind of coming out there and standing there and talking to people, it really is missing a lot of, a lot of the scare quality and a lot of the scare factor. You can have those interactions. If there's a character that is more interactive, you can have that interaction, but they should still be moving in, getting a scare and coming back out, so that they have that power, that ability to, I can get a scare here, I can do this here, I can be part of the scene, more people can see me, and then I'm in your face because now I'm stepping in. So it's that get in, get the scare, get out. One of the ways that we teach, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I just want to see. I want to go. I want to know where you're going with it. Like, I want to see if you're going to say what I'm thinking. Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to get to one of the exercises that I do right away, which is kind of a warm up, and it's called Yes Let's. And this is a warm up exercise just for the sake of getting everybody doing kind of silly things together. And this is a standard old style improv exercise where one person starts and says, "Let's all play baseball." And everybody says, "Yes, let's." And then we all play baseball for a couple seconds. And then we're supposed to get back in line and look for the next person. And it can be as, silly or whatever. Let's all, get eaten by ants or stung by bees or be dinosaurs of some sort, serving dinner. And it goes around and people are having a great time. And it really is a great icebreaker. It warms people up and everybody's doing silly things at the same time, so nobody feels like it's on top of them. And then after we start going around, maybe the fifth person or so, I'll step in and say, now we're adding on to this. What you need to be doing is, after you get in and do your thing, you need to reset. And here's why. And I explain, of course, that, if they're so involved with what they're doing, that the guests come in and they're going to, catch them out of position, and it's not going to be fun for them because they're not going to get the scare. And so they need to start getting back. So now I'm using a fun warm-up exercise, but also teaching the idea right from the start of getting in and resetting, of having to reset. So I'm using that as both at the same time. Was that where you thought I was going to go, or no?
Oh, I was hoping you were going to go for the crazy one that you did this season. But Yes Let's was a great one, because it does. They have to pay attention. It gets real loud. Everybody does things, but you have to pay attention to all your other actors and things around you. So to get in, do the game, everybody be T-Rexes tying your shoes and everybody's going crazy. You have to get back and play so you can hear what's happening. So that's a great one for popping in and getting the scare and coming back out. The other one that you did this year was we need to tweak a little bit, but it was great. It was the balloon one you did.
Oh, yes. So
the balloon one was good.
Thank you. So here's a new one. Like I said, when we need an exercise to do something, we'll find it somewhere or we'll make it up. One of the things that I want to teach, a lot of scare acting is actually doing that, moving forward and back. There's a lot of balance that's involved in that. There is this movement. We want the actors to be dynamic, and I know that somebody else owns that word, so I apologize about that. We want to have them to have power in their movement. So we need an exercise for that. And I found, there are sports exercises where you will have, like in football or hockey, where, again, dry land training, where they'll have a balloon on one side and a balloon on the other. And the idea is they're going to hit this and they're going to run to the other side and hit that balloon and try to keep them both up in the air. And what it does is it keeps the actors moving back and forth. Yes, it needs to be tweaked because we didn't have it, run perfectly this time, but the idea was there, and we did get them to get the idea of moving and keeping their balance and moving quickly. So that was a new one this year. I thought it worked, but yes, it needs tweaking.
It worked. It just needs a little bit of tweaking done, but it did work. It got them moving. It made them back and forth. The balloons, I think, we need to put water or something in them. They were having them tying on strings or something. Because the whole point is like they're going over, they're hitting one balloon up, and then they're going to get the other one, and they're making sure it doesn't go down on the floor. So it gives them that short distance to kind of move. But some of the balloons were just going everywhere.
Yeah,
Right.
but
And then also for that, he also what he also did this year was he got some of the training actor trainers or the breakers or house leads that were helping us, and we just be in a they'll go in a line like guest, and then we'll have the actors go in, get the scare at multiple heights, multiple distances, and go in, get the scare, whether it's three, because we're saying every guest should be able to try to get a scare. So if you have a line of 10 to 15 people, try to get as many pop out scares as possible. So we actually have, a guest line go down, and then we had the actors popping in from different angles, just in front of everybody, so everybody gets to see exactly what needs to be done.
now it's an open room scare, so I tell them right from the start, the point isn't to actually scare them, because there's no costumes, there's no lights, there's nothing, and everybody sees you at the whole time. So the idea is to work on the form of the action stepping out. And we teach this, we use what I call the Dolly method, which is distance, angles, levels, and intensity. So, of course, distance, a lot of haunts talk about distance, it's outside of the guest arm length. You can break it if, in certain ways. Angles is whether or not you're coming, sort of front, from the side, from behind. Levels, head, top, medium, waist, feet, and then intensity, how hard you go out, or whether it's a light scare, or whether or not it's a full charge. And by mixing and matching these different ideas, you can have, even from one scare point with a group of 6 to 8 people, you can have 3 or 4 different scares, even just from one doorway. You can start with a low, quick scare, and then a harsh, broadside. Then maybe another quick medium scare, and then chase somebody from behind. And that's all from one scare point. So, especially for the newer actors who have not done anything like this before, I try to use the newer actors and have these open room scares. They're standing, a couple of them in a line with a little bit distance apart. A couple of the actors go, walking by as guests, and they're going to step out and they're going to try angles, try distance, try levels. And so they get the idea of this. It's I call it open room scares.
Do you know what causes haunted attractions to shut down before they even get started? The top 3 roadblocks are lack of funding, lack of leadership, lack of resources. As a member of the Haunters Toolbox, you get instant access to the tools you need to start and grow your own haunted attraction business. To get started, become a member at haunterstoolbox.com.
Yeah, and then one last thing that I got is that since it is difficult to get people to go get the scare and come back, and they just want to be the center of attention sometimes, this year we actually showed them a video that that Jonathan pretty much created. So we actually did the video, me and you, yeah. We actually did a video after our lunch break that we had with all of our actors during our trainings. We actually showed a 20 or 30-minute video, and we just walked around the haunts I think 2 years ago.
2 years ago,
and we just kept on going around in different pop outs and showing them different ways to scare, and it's mainly just get in, get the scare, and get out, and just keep going at the doors and everything like that. Besides doing it in dress rehearsals, we did do the video, and it came out nice. It came out good.
Yeah. That video is actually available. I have the Scaring with Sammy YouTube page. I'm not sure if I had mentioned that before, but Scaring with Sammy YouTube page. I have a couple more videos that I'm supposed to be putting up, but we're so busy with the haunts that it kind of, they don't always get done on time. But Scaring with Sammy, the YouTube page, a lot of the videos are only 3 to 7 minutes long, because I just want to do a quick concept, want to give people just a little touch. And if you go up, anyway, the 26-minute one is up there, is in there somewhere. It's one of the more recent ones.
But yeah, Jonathan has
there it
a
is, the
bunch of these
special
videos,
edition.
and they're great.
Is it 28?
That one right there that you're on.
A special edition?
Special edition, yes. That's where we have We talk about sight lines a lot and multiple scares.
Going to be able to see much of when that pop out's going to come. So we're going to be able to get pop out, pop out, pop out, pop out, pop out. So let's see it with guests. And action.
Wow, it's not as smooth on YouTube as it was.
Freeze! Frankie, did you see Dave pop out from where you are? Didn't see a thing. And you're only 2 people back. So each time as the guests walk by, Dave here has more pop-outs and can keep scaring them as long as he scares and goes back. Action! And cut. Here's another example of a classic startle scare area. Except in this instance, we have 3 different scare points. So as the guests are coming in, kind of where the camera is right now, we have this first pop. Then the guests are coming through. They're coming through. This is Lady Hockley's room, and Lady Hockley is doing her thing. And the guests are walking around, and we have a second pop. And then the guests come through, and they're coming into the garden. And as they're walking through, there is a third pop. In some situations where you have multiple scare points like this, you may have a prime scare. This is the important scare, the most important scare for this, even though you have all 3 of them that you can work. This is Lady Hockley's room. This is sort of the center of this entire house. And Lady Hockley's doing her thing. And this pop is going to be the prime scare. So even though you have all of these extra scare points, you want to hit this one, hit this one. Also, if you notice, this one has fantastic sight lines. The guests are coming in, and until they're right here, they can't see a thing. So let's see it. And action! Freeze! So, tell me, did you see Dave in there? No. The sight lines are fantastic. They can't see, so that actor can get scare after scare after scare. And go!
Come here! Lady Hockley, what? Come here!
And that's the end of one of our actors. Cut.
So part of the, and we go into a little bit more than just the pop-out scares. One of the points of that, of course, is to pop out and come back, as opposed to just being out there and speaking to people. We kind of did that, no real rehearsal, so it was kind of off the cuff. But I still think it came out nice.
Yeah. So what do you recommend for actors that don't have the pop-outs, that they're stuck in a room, or maybe they don't have a place to go?
Room acting is it pretty much, there's a lot of it is very similar. You still have the basics of getting in, getting the scare, and getting out. So if I have a room, and that whole video is a little bit more about pop-outs, not as much about character working the room, but part of the room is knowing where you are in the story, what your most important part in this story is. I mean, every haunt is, if you think of it like a movie, and you have in every set, every area is sort of a scene on its own. So for the actor, it's sort of working a room. They're bringing that room to life. They have to know where they are in the movie and what is the most important thing for that movie. They know what's before them in the rooms before and the rooms after. And the way that we teach it, I go into a lot of character work there. So it's not just, what do they do if they're in the room? You're creating this world. So you have connections to the room. You have connections to what you're wearing. I teach character, I tell them to go big. So there are 3 levels of questions that they can start asking. And, of course, we help them out. So it's BIG. You have basic questions. Start asking yourself, what is this room? What am I wearing? Did I choose to wear this, or was this put on me? What is this? What am I saying? What am I wearing? What does this say about me? What do I need to be doing in this room? What is the most important thing that I need to be doing in this room? You start the second, from the second letter is I, B-I. I is imagination, where you start getting a little bit more intricate into those questions. So what is my relationship to the other people that are in these areas? Am I friends with this person here? If we're in a pirate ship, is the captain, trying to kill me? Am I trying to mutiny? And you start asking questions about why you are in this situation, so that you get an idea of who you are as a character. And then the third letter there is the G for guests. And this is the part that I think that a lot of actors, scare actors miss. You'll hear a lot, everybody says, you don't say get out, go away. And I think that part of the reason why people say that is because they don't have any connection to the guests as they're coming through. The guests they're not an audience who are sitting there watching. They are a part of the movie. If you're going to interact with them, they are part of this movie. So you need to know who they are, and you actually need to assign that part to the guests. So let's say that I'm a pirate. You know, one of our houses is sort of a pirate ghost theme this year, and I'm not giving anything away. That's already out on media. Am I correct? Okay.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Trying to make me feel guilty. Thanks. So, if we have a pirate ship and I am a part of a pirate crew, if the guests just show up there, I do not have any connection with them. I don't know who they are. So my natural inclination would be to say, well, hello, who are you? Well, welcome to my room. All of these things that have no meaning. They don't tell a story whatsoever. On the other hand, if I have assigned them a part, if I know who they are, if they are spying on me for the captain, then they come in and right away, it's just, you can tell the captain that I'm taking care of this. I'm rigging the sail. Maybe they're on my side. Maybe they're fellow mutineers. Don't worry. The captain will never find out. Maybe, I see that maybe they're victims. They come in and all I want to do is kill them or whatever it is. But because I've created a connection to the guests, I'm not just an actor. I'm not just a random actor in a room who's, maybe saying a line. I have a connection to the guests, so I'm making it an experience. They are becoming part of my show, part of the movie. And on top of that, it still should be that powerful acting, powerful movement of moving in for a scare, coming back, you have the room, and movement as opposed to just waiting for them to come in and kind of just yelling them at the same time. Did that kind of answer a little bit of the question of how we approach actors working a room?
Yeah, that I think it
Okay.
Answering those questions, your basics, imagination or the embellishment of those characters and the questions, involving the guests is something that that's exactly why people say get out or help me, right? And both of those are cliche, they're tropes. You don't want to do those. By involving the guests as members of the movie, this is worth the price of admission. This is why people come to see us.
Yeah, and just to sort of piggyback on that a little bit, one of the things that I like to do is I like to take a look at what some things that are done and that aren't really, for example, like you said, they're cliche and trope. Why do so many people say get out, go away? And I think then that's one of the reasons. So one of the other things that I do teach, when we're going through sort of techniques, one of the things that we teach our actors is to give them the why, not the what. So go away, get out, go that way. These are whats. And, even things like welcome and hello, these are whats. They don't really mean anything. They don't have any connection to a story. They're kind of wasted words. On the other hand, if you give them the why, if the actors can give them the why you're saying this, first of all, it's going to communicate the same thing anyway, but it's going to give them part of the story. So let's say that I'm a ghost in a graveyard and the guests are coming in. To me, they're I'm living in this graveyard. This is my world, and and I should be here by myself. I'm reveling in the memories that I have, or whatever it is. I'm asking myself these questions. Why do I want to be alone in here? These are my memories that are surrounding me. So when the guests come in, instead of saying get out because I want them to get out, I'm going to give them the why. You can't have her memories. These memories belong to me. My world is shattering, and these phrases, they're still telling the guests to get out, but instead of giving the what, get out, which means nothing, I'm giving the why. So now the guests have part of a story that they're connecting to. And if I can raise that question in their head, if I can get them thinking, then of course it's easier to scare. It's also bringing them into our world, which is part of the storytelling. So why not what is one of the concepts that we really try to teach.
You're immersing that customer in it, and it makes a better experience, but it's also more fun for the actor too once they understand that why versus what. That I will revel in the fact that I scared somebody by telling them why, as opposed to get out of my room. What are you doing here?
It makes the scare actor more involved in their character too, because
yes,
keeps them kind of grounded in that character. In it, like you hear some Hollywood movie actors start preparing the movie for the movie a year. You know, they're getting old, getting the character down, living the character, watching reading the script. Some actors do that. They just like the first 6 months are like, I am who I am. You know, don't even
Method acting.
method actor. Yeah. So, and I've had some good actors in my house that have acted just like that. You could not get them out of character, no matter what you did. They weren't coming out of character until the show was over, and then you could, then they're out. So, that
Yeah.
do you address the theme overall for the actor, and then go to the room? Like, this is Dr. Phobia. We're in a medical. He's a crazy neurosurgeon. You're a patient. And you've been drugged, and you're waking up in the morgue. Or do you go, hey, this is how, I guess what I'm trying to say, how much control do you give them? Do you say, this is what I want you to say? Or do you just kind of give them a general idea of the haunt, the theme, and just say, let's see, try this. If you don't like that, try this. I know some haunts give out um, laminated index cards with like some
Mhm.
general sayings on it, kind of who their character is on the back. What kind of stuff do you guys do?
I'll start, and then Dave, you'll know where you'll come in. Uh,
Yep.
so generally what we like to do is we like to teach them to be general actors, so that when we're teaching this idea of like the BIG for characters, they're asking the basic questions. They're going to be told the haunt theme, and so we're going to immerse them in that. And of course, I want them to be able to create on their own within that framework. This year, we're doing more very some those index cards, which have some lines on them that have some little bit of backstory, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then from there, I want them to be able to do more. And that goes into knowing where you are, and, knowing where you are in the haunt. And from there, I'll pass it to Dave.
Yeah, so everybody, like, we have like at least four designers every year that design a haunt. So they had come up with their whole backstory or the whole theme and the process of designing and building the haunt. And as much as we can, we try to tell all the actors this is what haunt you're in, give you a breakdown of what it entails, what the designer really has been doing for the past year on being creative and coming up with this. So we try to make sure we train our actors to be, you're going to bring these characters to life. This is what we want you to do. So we'll give them as much insight as possible from our perspective, and then if we need help, we'll go grab a designer and be like, what exactly do you want this actor to play the role? What do you want them to actually do? Because they're the ones doing it for a year. I mean, Jonathan designed, I've designed, so we have an idea, but the designer knows best, and then we'll just be able to work with the designer to help drive the haunt exactly how they wanted it and how they had it in their eyes. Obviously, tweaks can happen if we think maybe this is a little easier, a little bit harder, whatever it is, but we'll work it to start to finish. Like, this is what room it is, and this is how to go back on the last question too, with how to train actors that are running a room for the most part. I mean, the video that we have also that he showed also has like distraction scares, so you don't have to be this big center of attention as well. But you have to know the room in front of you, know the room that you're in, and know the room afterwards. If you know all that, then you can tell them where they're going, where they're coming from, do all that. That's my easiest way of saying it. What's the room in front of you? What's the thought process on that? So the same thing with the design. So we have to tell that actor, the whole setup in that room, why you're in that room, what it is. So we tell them that per the design. And then the room that the next actor's in, and then the room the next actor's in. And we just make sure they're communicating as they're going through. I'm going to keep saying communication. But they're going to keep communicating with the rooms that are, 1, 2, 3, keep going all the way snake through the haunt. So we do put it out there, and now the designers are putting more cue cards together so they could give them helpful hints. So if we're not around and they draw a blank, they can read the card and be like, oh, okay, let me get back on track. And I could stutter the whole time. Sometimes you get the adrenaline going, you go all crazy, you start stuttering. I tell all the actors, I'm like, if you just start saying gibberish, say gibberish until you collect yourself. And then just think about what room you're in and everything, and just start over again. No one's going to know. Being a crazy person's great. And that's what we're all here for.
Mm-hmm.
You almost went into bleeding into the rooms before back. I was looking for that.
Yeah, well, bleeding is in the room. if you know the layout, if you know the design, the best way to do it, besides us telling them and the designer, is that they're working with the actors. You know, the room in the front. If I always tell my actors, like, we'll set you up for like 3 or 4 different places to scare from. If it's ever slow or whatever it is, you could help the actor ahead of you or before you by being the distraction. Go into that set for a little bit if it's close by. You know, it all depends on how the rooms are, obviously, and it's designed. But I tell my actors, like, if you have the time, go into that room before, be the distraction, even if you're right by the door and you're just like on the wall and just scraping or saying some words related to that room and going into your room. Get the eyes of the customers on you, and let your friend, your customer, or your fellow actor in a way, you know, use you as a distraction and get the scare. And then when they go into your room, maybe that person chases them through, you know, pushes them into your room, and then the other actor is doing the same thing for you, depending on how of course the flow of the customers are. But I always tell my actors is like, it's definitely depending on the layout of the haunt. But if you could go into another room just slightly, just for a second or two, whatever, it doesn't have to be long. Whether you're pushing someone into it or you're going into the one beforehand, I'm like, just work together and just build those character relationships, because you're right there. There's only a wall. Unless you're taking a giant U-turn and you don't, you know, you're like a giant lap around, and then you're never going to see this one character because it has no theme process. I'm like, if you're right there in a strip and you're going through a store front to the store, you know, freezer or whatever it is, all of you should be able to communicate because you're all on the same roof. I'm like, just communicate throughout and just keep leading in within the scenes and just have fun with it. That's how I tell them to do it, so they can learn it.
Yeah, bleeding into the rooms before and after. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I try to teach too. And it's you're right. And the designer, our job as owners and operators and designers is to have a place for the scare actor to play and disappear and have all the, whether it's a, you know, just a piece of material hiding there or something, or a shadow, some place where they can disappear. And I try to design all my rooms that way. You know, and I really like that you had 3 pop outs on that one scare actor box. That's good too.
Yeah,
and the customers like, I just saw you. Hold on, I just saw you. Where are you going?
Yeah, they love that. They love that.
Yeah, circular haunting.
Yes.
I worked for a while at a place called Skull Kingdom, where we only had like a skeleton crew. I mean, we had a big haunted house and only maybe like 3 or 4 of us acting at a time, running around. So I mean, that's so circular haunting. And so now that we have these haunts and we have more people, of course, it's even more fun. But the idea of giving one scare actor as many different places and things that they can do as possible is something that I think is a wonderful goal to aspire to.
Yes. I love actors that are versatile. Like one actor, I think, worked 13 different positions that year because he was just a fill-in guy. I was like, okay, man, I need you over here tonight because someone called in. Got you, man. So he could chameleon. He could right into the set. You know, he knew exactly what to do. You know, don't have to say anything to him. Just work your magic.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Those are great. Those are great finders. Those are great individuals to find. It was like, oh, I need you to bail me out tonight. You're going to go over here. How does that sound? Great. I'll do it. Whatever you say, boss. I'm like, great.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Then you want them in all 13 places at the same time. It's like, oh.
Yeah. As soon as you see that, it's like, is cloning a thing yet? How is this happening? I need a couple of these people.
Yeah,
it's great.
We had it broke down. It's like, okay, if everyone calls out, we at least need 15 people. 15 people, we could provide a show. May not be the biggest show, but it's going to be because the way they work, they can run this scene over here, this scene. Yeah, it's those people are hard to come by. So if you find them, keep.
Yeah. We got a couple extras that we have in what's it called, Jonathan? What did we call it this year?
Swing actors.
Swing actors. We got a couple of people in swing position this year, and they're pretty much paid actors that we are not setting like 100%. This is your spot. So we're gonna be like, you guys are talented enough to be thrown around. So we got like, I think just 9 this year, swing actors that we're gonna be able to throw around in the different haunts, like last minute type of deal.
Yeah.
So we do have a question. If you guys are doing the bleeding back and forth in and out, how do you train the actors not to steal the scares from the other actors?
Distraction only. You're there to support. So I make sure that this isn't your room. I'm like, I want you to work together, but you have to just drill it in their heads. Is like, listen, you can, and I show them, anything. If I could, I'll do whatever it has to do in the haunt. So they have to be willing to do the same thing and be respectful. So what I do is I just, I'll show them exactly what I mean. And it's usually you're taking 2 feet in a room. You're not in that room. You're not in their cubby hole. You're not really anywhere near them for the most part, because you want to be opposite end from the actor that's in that actual room. So I'll just be like right next to the door, even if I'm just screaming and they don't even see me, but I'm like closer to that entrance of when or the exit from their leaving, and I'm in the other room. So I just make sure I tell the actors, just work together. You're not going to steal their scare. Come up with some kind of line or some kind of bang or something like that to where it shows where they're at, but don't go into the room and don't take the scare. I just tell them that the whole time, but you're only a couple feet in, if any.
It's communication, and
yeah,
and of course every it's going to be very position specific. So very often, and we're checking through, so we'll see if there's a problem, and if there is a problem, somebody is going to tell us. But bleeding in, really, it should be, as we're discussing it's all communication, so that it's not a situation where they are stealing scare. If somebody is, then it becomes a problem, and we're going to take care of that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't had too many issues with
No.
it. Like you could even have one actor in there. It all depends on, obviously, Enigma Haunt, we were allowed to do a lot more because it was a lot less people. It wasn't thousands and thousands of people every night, maybe a couple hundred some night. 500, whatever, 700 people. So you might have one actor from one room that's a torturer, and then you have a victim that was supposed to be in another room. Maybe that victim is getting, killed right there, and then all of a sudden the torturer throws him into another room. So it all depends on how many people you're pushing through a night, what's the layout of the room, and the thought process of the design. So, but it's just communicate with the actors on how to run it, if it can even happen. I mean, I could be in the door frame just yelling or saying something that makes the customers look a different opposite way, and then my coworker can get them, my co-actor can get them.
Yeah, teaching teamwork.
Yeah.
Now, there's a comment that Kim had made in the Facebook comments. It's not really a question, but it brings up a question. Sometimes they're having trouble with shyness and stage fright at the worst times. How do you get the actors over some of those things? And is it regarding some of the things you've already talked about?
A little bit. So, like I think I mentioned before, we ramp them up. So in other words, I get them right from the start. Everybody's doing stuff together, and that really helps break the ice. When everybody's, being, chickens on a kitchen table or something like that, then if everybody's doing it, then everybody's kind of doing it together. And then we do a lot of the body work. I use a number of different exercises, filling the space exercises, where we go through different types of body movements, whether or not it's using the leading center, or or marionetting, or using identities, like animals or elements or things like that. Everyone's doing these things together, so we're kind of starting to wean them off that way. Something that I started new this year was an exercise called Take It to 11, where we would actually, after we've had everybody kind of doing silly things together, we're bringing them, in smaller circles. We had to break them up into smaller circles. And I'm trying to get them, what I want them to do is I want them to take it to 11. So, we're talking, I'm giving them lines to say, and I want them to present it like, Worldwide Wrestling Federation, like anime, completely overly done. This is not, true, this is not screen acting. This is not stage acting. This is, we're just practicing just the idea of getting it so big. And it is so absurd. Everybody that's doing it, and especially when they're doing it right, it gets to be big and absurd. And then everybody gets a chance to kind of feel that. And it helps. And I really saw a difference between what some people were doing before and what they were doing afterwards, because they started to feel a little bit more free, because once again, everybody's doing these crazy things, that making something as big as possible. So there are ways to get people out of that. Another way that I will say is not an exercise that I use this year, but sometimes I use something called neutral masks. And the idea of a neutral mask is that it's just a plain mask, doesn't really have anything on it. And if a person puts this on, it kind of takes away their identity. And when it takes away their identity, they become so much freer. Because one of the problems of people being shy is they're worried about being judged. As Dave said earlier, we want to make this as comfortable a space as possible. I want people to try things they've never tried before. I tell them that it's a safe space. And if you try something new and you fail, if you do an accent and it doesn't work, good, because that's how we learn. And we're all doing crazy things. So one of the things is if we can take away that sort of that judgment, at least in rehearsal, and then on top of that, if you take it out with judgment in rehearsal, then that kind of translates to the actual performance, but also the idea of the neutral mask, of taking away the identity. This is not you anymore. You do not have to, you're not confined to this is your face. And then you transfer that magic by saying, with this costume and with this makeup, this is not you anymore. And we try to get them out of the feeling of this is me and I feel uncomfortable to, wait, this is not me anymore. This is something else. And now I can be free to explore. I can be free to communicate and express in a different way. So we have a number of different ways that we try to go about that. Yes, it's still going to be a problem because not everybody's going to take this. I have an old actor's, I don't know if it's a yarn or whatever. There was a comedian or a clown who felt like he wasn't funny anymore. And so his director told him to put a handful of tuna fish in his pants. He's like, what is this? Well, if you put a hand of tuna fish in your pants, the audience doesn't know it. You have a secret that they don't know. And once he had this secret that they didn't know, all of a sudden it was really funny to him again because he's doing this stuff and they don't know that he has this secret. So it was funny to him and it livened up the performance again. So I'm not saying that you're going to tell your actors to take some tuna fish and stick it in their pants. I mean, like I said, I don't know.
I'm getting tuna fish now.
I'll have to look up the etymology of that story. It's an old theater tale about having a secret or doing something to kind of get yourself out of your own head. So there's a lot of ways to do it. Nothing is going to be perfect. You're going to have actors that are going to be shy and you have to try to work with them. But I find that giving them a change, getting them to get the idea that it's not them, taking away their identity and letting them play and express something else and also learning to do it with everybody so that we're all having fun together is helpful. And I've seen results. I've seen some great results. So I can't say it's perfect every time, but I've seen great results.
And now getting actors out of their own head is an important thing because we've seen sometimes guests aren't necessarily nice or polite. We've had actors that have been touched or yelled at or guests that touch props. We've had, I can think of an instance where an actor has had their ex walk through with the ex's new fling, right? And it just brought that actor down. How do you get them to reground themselves to bring that character out when they're having something that is a traumatic to them situation?
Well,
yeah. Can I jump in on this one, Jonathan?
Go right ahead.
Well, that's funny because you were saying the ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend jumping in with someone else. Yeah, that happened. I think it was last year, and anything like that. Anyone to get nervous or if they're just getting out of it, they have to communicate. Keeps popping up, right? They have to communicate with their team members, whether it's the actors around them, their breakers or house leaders, and then usually if it's serious, I tell them to definitely get me, and it's just talking to them like everybody's so many different personalities in the haunt industry, and nowadays it's everybody's different, so 100%. So you have to talk to them just with the utmost respect, see where the bottom line is. And I said, to the individual that had that, I was like, who cares if they came in with that? You're better than that person. That's what, she did this, like that person was telling me a little bit, details. I'm like, well, they're not good enough for you, and I'm just telling them that's there as support. And like, you're here to have fun. You're with everybody in the haunt. We're all family here. This one person breaks your heart. We're here to mend it. I'm like, let's go ahead and have fun. Take it, but I'll tell them like, if you need 5-10 minutes, go ahead and take your time. I'll go in and scare. I was like, I'll come back out here and check on you, and we'll get you back in there if you're up for it. But just talking to them with a level head, being there to support, because everybody has their personal issues and drama, or just get in their own mind and just feel terrible. I always say, because it's true to me in a way. It's like, this is the best thing that's ever happened. Working in the haunt industry. Being able to just go out there and scream and have fun and do crazy stuff, and it's the best part of it for me, the best part of the year. Being with any of my actors and being able to scare. So it's just, hey, relax. You're here with the family. Talk to them like a normal person. Tell them that we're here to support. Give them 5 minutes or whatever they have to have, and just cheer them up and say, hey, we're here to scare. You're gonna, if that person upset you, go scream at the next couple of people, not in their face, do it right, but go scare the people. Go scare the people to make sure you're just unleashing any kind of anger or anything else that you have in you. I'm like, and then I always tell them, just go ahead and communicate with me. After this, if you want to sit down and talk, I'll talk to you about anything you want to talk. So I'm always there for any of our actors, no matter what it is. I don't care about the personalities or whatever. I'm there looking at these individuals like they're normal people, because they are. Everybody's a little crazy because we're all working on haunt, but you have to be there for everybody.
Yep.
If I could, I'd like to take that back a little bit to when you're talking about like bad problem guests that may not be personal to them. So one of the things that we do is we want to give the actors the confidence. So one of the things that we do is that we're going to tell them right away that there are going to be bad guests and there are going to be problems. And we have a safety regimen, on how to not create the bad guests, how not to, how to identify and how to communicate so that we're aware of the bad guests, how to scare safely so that you are not, putting yourself in danger, how to use props safely so that you are not, putting, well, that's even more for the guests, not putting them in danger. But we have a whole regimen. A safety regimen, whether or not it's getting in, getting scared, getting out, scaring with the buffer hand so that you are protecting yourself, scaring using distances, and so we have this regimen about how to be aware of the guests, how to deal with the guests, how to scare and scare safely, to give them a little bit of confidence in how so that they don't cause the problems or can reduce those problems. And then we talk to them about what happens when there is a problem. And we really we take this time separately. So it's not just, oh, here we're training. And by the way, if this happens, we really take this as a separate time. We sit them down in a room and hear, this is your safety talk. And we're there for 30 minutes to 45 minutes or so, depending on how many questions there are, where we really just go through all of this. And we explain to them, we get the point across that it's not about them, that we don't, well, here, I'll say, so I take directly from, Alan Hops said this, and there's no better way to say it, so I'm just going to give credit where it's due. He said that we've already won. So when the actors feel like they're impressed upon and they want to, respond back with anger or insults or something like that, that's not the way to handle it, because we've already won. We don't need to do that. And once again, I give full credit to Alan Hops for that, for stating it that way, because as a philosophy, it really works. You let the actors know that we've already won. They paid to get in here. They're coming here to see us. We've won. We do not need to insult back. We do not need to try to swing back or get the last word in. If they want to be problems, we tell them to get out of there. There are ways there's ways to avoid bad guests. One of them is to ignore them and just work with the guests that are good. And if the guests are really problems, you get out of there, because I'd rather let the guests argue with a blank wall, not a blank wall, because our haunts are nicely detailed, but argue with a detailed wall. I wasn't trying to hit up this, argued with a nice detailed wall, then argue with an actor. Just get out of there. If they want to be problems, they can pay for an empty room any day of the week. I'm fine with that. And then I try to teach techniques for de-escalating. So for example, I teach deflecting. It's a technique that basically you take the energy and you put it somewhere else. So if somebody comes up to me with, one of those, the insults they say, "You're not scary." And so instead of trying to respond directly to them, well, no, yes, I am scary, or whatever it would be. You're not scary. What is Gary? I'm taking it, I'm misunderstanding it, I'm directing it to somebody else. So I'm going to go take it from them and I'm going to go to somebody else. What, Gary? He's looking for Gary. Have you seen Gary? Have you seen Gary? And so I'm removing it from the direct confrontation with that guest who's trying to be a problem. And I'm turning it on its side and I'm changing the power. So now that guest is, if they're still trying to be a problem, no, I said this. I said you've undercut their power without attacking them back, which is just going to escalate it and cause more of a problem. So yes, most of the time in the haunt, you don't have as much time, but you just ignore it and move on and get to the next people. You bounce back. Bounce back is the phrase that we use. And if you can deflect so that you're kind of, diffusing that situation, diffusing the insult at any rate, and still kind of, winning without escalating it, then that's another way to go about it.
Or if you got some kind of prop or some kind of noisemaker that you have a button to, just push the air. And then they forget, laugh at him.
That's definitely situational, what's in the room, but those are some definitely good techniques that glad that you are teaching those.
Yeah, it's interesting. I try to find things that I guess I do will admit that I look at things a little differently. For example, we do not teach our actors to taunt people or to insult, to abuse them, because that can escalate situations. I would rather that we scare them and just move on rather than escalating a situation. And I know that there's a lot of haunters that sort of swear by, well, no, I'm going to insult them and I'm going to insult them better than they can insult me. Well, sometimes you're going to lose that fight. And even if you do win that fight, let's say that the guests realize that, oh, this person's really good at insulting. I'm not going to get them. You've kind of taught them that this is how we interact. Now they're going to go into the next room where there's somebody smaller who's not as good, and they're ready to start insulting and abusing them. And you never know, and you might catch somebody that you think it's lighthearted abuse or whatever, or you think that you're getting them back, and it's really going to hit them. And now you've created a problem that somebody's going to start swinging. So to me, once again, I know that this is not shared across the board in all, but we teach that we're going to scare and we're going to go after them. We're going to go for their throats, whatever it is. We're going to scare them, not abuse them, so that we can, avoid, escalating problems. We don't want to create the bad apples that are going through the haunt. We're going to do everything that we can. We're going to get in their heads. We're going to scare them, but we're not going to cause those problems.
Yeah.
So that's part of, and part of all of that, when you put it all together as sort of a philosophy, sort of as an idea, the idea is that we're giving our actors the confidence to understand how this works, so that they can avoid these problems, so you don't get into as many of those situations, and that also gives them the confidence of how to react when it does happen.
Do they have go ahead.
And then to finish a little bit of that was. I always tell the actors, you always take care of them, you talk to them for a little bit, but there should be so many different types of scares in a haunt, whether it's a drop box or whatever. So if anybody's feeling uncomfortable or having a bad day or whatever, as long as they're talking and you keep that communication open with your actors, and they come up to you and say, oh, I just seen my ex-girlfriend or whatever, or I had a bad time with terrible guests that are being completely rude, and maybe they're in a little bit of a center of attention spot, well, maybe we throw you in a Dropbox and change this actor out, swap someone out. So you can always try to make someone feel more comfortable and more safe. If you need them in that spot, then you got to talk to them and, say, I'll give you a break. Let's see how it goes, blah, 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 blah. But there should be so many different options inside a haunted house to make someone feel comfortable. So just that communication, whether they just feel out of it or it's not for them. How about you try this? Because sometimes a Dropbox or some little pop out or a puppet will be one of the best things that get people to turn around.
Yeah, we had a real shy kid. We had a puppet, and that's he came and that's where he would go. He went back to the puppet, and he was shy, he was quiet, but he rocked that puppet. He had the timing out perfect, so it was and he was happy with it, and everybody liked it. So
But that's
Yeah, I
getting
had people
the
do
actor the
puppets and they
confidence to do something and coming out of their shell, and you give them. We've had some excellent puppeteers in the puppet scares, and initially the people think, "Oh, it's just a puppet," but then they start getting those reactions from the customers that equal the people that are up in their face, but they still get to play shy and hide behind stuff, but operate that puppet, and it's so empowering to the actor that we've seen people come out of their shell just by being a puppeteer, that they want to come out. They'll do the puppets, but they want to come out and they're much more open and less reserved. It's so
Oh yeah,
empowering
hundred
for.
percent,
What one thing that I'll
100%.
say, yeah, one thing I'll say about that is one of the nicest things that I had, as an actor trainer, is back at Enigma Haunt. We did all the training in helping the people get out of their shells, and a couple years later, after it had closed, and I got, an email or a text or whatever from one of the actors that we had who went on an interview and thanked me, just thanked me. I mean, she wasn't even part of the haunt anymore. Just, but send me it was a text, or I think it was a text or Facebook message or whatever, and just thanked me because the stuff that we had done together to get people out of their shell made her feel more confident in an interview. She went into an interview and had a time. And so, I mean, it's things like that. And that's not the only one. I've had a couple others of these, but that is really very fulfilling, I guess. I mean, it feels really good to know that you've reached people when, even after they're done haunting, they come back and say, hey, this gave me the confidence to do this. And and I feel like that's part of our job, is to help get these people have the confidence. Because the more confidence and more comfortable that they are, the better the scare actors they are, and the more interesting the show is. So that was kind of on point. Maybe it was.
Yep.
I was gonna ask you. So if an emergency does happen, do you have zone leaders with walkie-talkies? Does everyone have a way to communicating? How does that work? Like,
Yeah, management has a bunch of walkie-talkies. Management can contact security, which we have security all over the place, and police officers. And then our management team will have access to all the security channels, and then for all the house leaders and breakers. So all the house leaders and the breakers will have radios and walkie-talkies anyway. And then we'll have at least three. We try to have at least three other ones additional in the haunts, one in the front, one in the middle, one in the back. So total for at least one of the haunts, you'll have eight radios. So the communication will be there in case of any emergencies or whatnot.
And we're working on being more strict with radio communication, getting away from just chatter on the radio. No, radios are used for this purpose. We have, this is a code blue, this house, calling this person, or however the phrasing is for each of the different types of communication. It's important. I think that's an important aspect of having radios, not just having the radios, but being able to use them so that they are effective.
Yeah, everybody on site has a ID badge, and on the back of their ID badge says all the. Yeah, you're looking for yours, Jonathan.
Yes, I was looking for
mine's in the car. Yeah, mine. But the back of the ID has all the codes that we call on the radio and everything like that. So everybody, even if they don't have a radio, they know what's being called if it's around them. So yeah, there's at least, I don't know, maybe 20 to 30, or actually probably way more than that, 40 to 50 radios on hand at all times.
What in the so it's 9 o'clock. So when I touch a little bit of cue line acting. How is that different? What do you do different training? Do you bump up actors that have kind of proven themselves and more experienced, put them out front? How do you do that?
Well, there's a number there's a number of different questions in there. We can talk about training. We can talk about casting. So, Dave, do you want to talk a little bit about casting first, and then I'll talk about training them?
Well, we don't cast for midway, really.
Not really, but what we kind of do is we try to keep the newer actors. Yeah, go ahead.
It goes first to the experienced and the veterans for the most part. it will be going towards them because we've had the most history with them. We're able to see if they're able to react to customers, if they're listening to what we're saying as far as acting and safety and everything, all those aspects. So veterans definitely are some of the first ones that will be drafted for that, casted for that. Some new actors do make it out there because we try to make sure we're when we divvy up all the actors per the haunts, we make sure that not all the talents in this one location. So we'll definitely sprinkle some new people that we talked to and that kept the communication during training and showed us different things in training. And we're like, we're going to try this person out this year and see how they are in midway. And then we do have a training for midway, and we go over safety again. We go over safety like all season long as we're training. This year we even did it a little bit more. But we'll tell them, are you comfortable with crowds? Or you have to make sure you're out of these situations. And then when we even complete those areas for midway, all the active positions, we'll make sure it's relatively balanced out for the most part to where it's male and female, and tell everybody they have to watch out for each other and make sure everybody understands if there's a bad crowd, you just get away from that bad crowd. Know where your security guards are, where your police officers are, and everything like that. But the first ones that we'll put in those positions will be veterans, but everybody has to communicate, work together as a family, make sure that they're getting the scares and they're staying away from any issues but reporting any issues that they do see also.
So one of the things that, when we're putting actors into these positions, so we have some of the icon or featured characters as you look through on the website. But we also have sort of positions. So we have characters that are out there that can be, different people can play. And one of the things that we do is we will move people into midway and out of midway. So we're trying to avoid the idea that some people feel like, oh, this is my place. I get to be here every year because we're moving them in and out. So we're making it a little bit more like it's another haunt. This year you get to do this type of role outside, and some people take to it and some people don't. I mean, it's not for everybody type thing, but we're trying to keep, because that's one of the issues that we've heard a lot of, where some actors feel entitled. This is what I can do, what I'm going to do, and if you're not going to put me there, then I'm going to be, I'm going to be a prima donna or something like that. So we're trying to fix that up by moving people in and out, just like we're casting for the regular haunts. Then we do a separate midway and Q-line training. Q-line and midway are actually kind of two separate things all by themselves. So for midway training, we teach a lot of teamwork, moving, once again, fading in and out so that they're moving more, almost like a waving sort of in and out. I teach them to move in circles outside of the lines where the guests are generally walking. And I guess to go back, the way that our midway is set up, we kind of have the guests are walking in from one place and they're walking through this midway to the houses. And then from the houses, like after they get through the haunts, they're walking through the back midway, back to the main area. So we don't have a midway where everybody's kind of just standing around. We don't have the food in the midway. We don't have, games or anything in the midway. We kind of have it's almost like more like a scare. Our midway is more like a scare zone. So the guests are kind of walking almost in a line. So you can predict that to a certain extent. So we can have the actors move in circles around the line so they can be seen and move into, for scares. And that way they also know where their scene partners are. We want them to work with each other and to be aware of where each other are at all times. So that's the type of movement that we teach for the midway, as well as things like the 3-step rule, to only take 3 steps, and then stop chasing people because, for safety purposes. We teach all of the situations for like photos. Have your hands in full view at all times. If you feel like you're getting crowded, moving to the side, don't let yourself get cornered or trapped. So we do a lot of the movements training for midway. And then because we have a VIP section, we also go into teaching very specifically how to interact, how to create a character that has a reason to be there, talking to the guests and have something to approach. For example, I'm very big on the storytelling aspect of it. So instead of having our midway actors kind of just throwing them out there and saying, hey, hope that you are fast-witted and can come up with insults or can come up, I don't want them insulting people, but Coping can come up with something because I teach them forms and techniques so that they can get in and have interactions with guests. So we've been to a number of haunts where you go to the haunt and you see some people that are sort of interacting, and sometimes what they're doing is they're looking for something that they can say, or they're waiting for the guests. They'll try to tease out something, and the guest will say something so that they can have a response. And they're just kind of relying on wit. What I like to do is I like to teach the actors to work for the character so that they're approaching. They don't need to wait for the guest to say something. They don't need for the guest to be wearing something that they can make a comment on. They will have approaches and escapes and ways to get into that interaction and things to do while they're in that interaction without having to just rely on being quick-witted. So I'm teaching more of a technique-based form. In fact, I did a seminar on this at Transworld like 2 years ago. And so who knows, it might be coming up again. That would be a lot of fun. I've submitted a couple things. We'll see if I'm back on the roster or not. It's whatever they need. But that's how I approach. Midway is more for quick scares because the guests are really moving. You don't really even have time to stop and really have a conversation with them. But we also have the other areas where the guests are sitting, they're not moving anywhere, where you do want to have those conversations, where you do want to have that interaction and have the guests meet a character that is, part of its own world, rather than just, a fast-witted comedian who's going to make remarks and respond. Did that make sense? Some of that didn't quite come out in English.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it all came together as one, so I understood it.
Okay, yeah. Good.
So is Benji your character?
Benji is another one of my characters.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Did you?
Is that the one you're going to be this year, or is it just one of the characters?
So Sammy is the flagship character, and I started off, and what I needed to do at Enigma Haunt and similarly at Fright Nights was when I was going on and interacting with people outside as Sammy, and then I'd go inside the haunt, I could come roaring out them and I could go for the scare, and then they might jump, but then they say, oh, it's Sammy. And now they're trying to talk to me, and I really need them to move. So I really needed to not have Sammy inside the haunt. So I created, first I created a character called Nez, who is a rat, and then I created Benji. And the idea was that I could just put something on, and I could just get in the haunt and I could scare without it being Sammy, so I wasn't, causing, a backup or causing problems in that way. And then Benji kind of took on his own persona. Sammy is very, very verbal, very talkative, and I used to roam inside the queue lines and I would work with the guests and interact with the guests. But at Fright Nights, the queue lines, we have a loud band playing, we have a band or a DJ or something playing, and I really couldn't have those interactions. So I brought Benji out, and Benji is a lot easier to use in that scenario. So for Fright Nights, Benji is kind of my go-to right now, and I'm having a wonderful time with Benji. And he's different than Sammy, but it's a lot of fun to play this character. Which I'll say goes to the point of when, for actor training, your actors also need to learn to adapt. And sometimes it means changing up different aspects of the character so that you can perform and do the job that's needed to be done. Benji gets the job done at Fright Nights far better than Sammy can, because Benji, reacts and moves and does bits in a very different way.
Yeah, he looks pretty funny. Is he funny, or is he witty?
It's a little bit of it. What I like to do with my characters is of course, I'm going to do a lot of comedy because I love the comedy, but I want the comedy to always be a little tilted on its side. I want them to have, there's an uncomfortable aspect. I don't want them to just think, oh, well, here's just a funny guy. I want it to have that aspect of, okay, this is funny, but it's uncomfortable. So I'm going to get some of those laughs and those responses through that discomfort. And of course, I can always do a quick lunge, and all of my characters have a way to get scares. I mean, scaring is still what we do. So I'm going to bring them in with the character and the story, and I'm still going to get the scares. But I would rather go for uncomfortable with the funny rather than just, wow, look how funny this person is.
Right. Yeah. I would say Benji would make me uncomfortable. So it's already
Then
working.
you're doing your job right if that's the way you feel. We do have a question from Facebook from Joseph. For each of you, what is your favorite scare memory that you've had?
You want me to go first, Jonathan?
Yeah, I want you to go first.
There's a lot of them, but the one that always comes up first is I don't know. It was probably 10 years ago at Enigma Haunt, and we have all Froggy's Frogs scents and everything like that, and that's when Jedediah was like the first year my character was created, and so I had the room smelling terrible with body parts. I had two other actors, young female actors in my room that we call like my daughters, and it's a butcher shop, whatever. But there's a group of ladies that come in, and they just smell the room, get scared, and then one just throws up on the floor, and then scares all of them. Like all the other two or three friends all like see that, they get freaked out, they get scared from behind, and pretty much they all fall down, slipped into throw up. And it was like the worst thing, but no one got injured. They all were okay. But it was like that just happened. So, we kind of got out of character. I got a little bit out of character, helped them up, got them out to the emergency exit, had someone come in and clean it up, but we had it all on camera. And they even were like, "Oh, did you guys get that on camera? Oh, we would love to have that." But that was my favorite scare because they didn't expect it from all angles and the smells and everything like that, and then just throwing up and then falling down. It was just like icing on the cake, and they had a blast the whole time. It was great. That was always the one that keeps coming up whenever I think about it.
All right. Actually, I was trying to pull up a picture, some pictures of Jedediah. I didn't give them to you beforehand, but his character is fantastic.
Is he on the website?
If you have pictures with the double mohawk,
it's up there. It's the one above. I don't have the mohawks, but it's the one above. It's the one above Benji there.
Okay, yeah.
All right. That's one of them. Oh boy. Sorry. Okay, so for me, yeah. There's a bit of the Jedediah.
Usually two mohawks, but that's shaved head.
Yeah. Yeah, Jedediah just goes after people. It's really fantastic. I can't say that I really have a favorite scare because I really like crafting scares so that they're different. I love when they happen and you have them and there's a moment where there's just that connection because you're right there in that same moment. I guess one of the ones that comes to mind is a scare where just a fun one. I'm doing my thing as Sammy, and I'm a little bit frenetic, a little bit flighty, and I'm kind of moving around, and there are these women that are just no over here, hello, over here, and they're waving at me. They want to get my attention, and I'm just doing my little thing, using like fast motions, and then I stop, and I just smile and turn. And they said no and left. It was just no, and they were come here, no, and they're gone. So I mean stuff, little things like that. I love kind of bringing people in and then waiting, and then whether or not I'm giving a distraction or there's something, and then going after them. I like telling them that I'm going to scare them and then scaring them. We had this curtain for the VIP room. And I'd bring people in, as Sammy, I did a lot of the greeter type stuff when we needed to for VIP. And I'd bring them through the curtain, and we're going bring them through the curtain. And here I'm right behind this curtain. And then I'd go behind the curtain, and then they take a step forward, and I'd pop right back out the curtain, and they're freaked out. No, I told you I was here,
Yeah.
So I'm setting them up, letting them know. So I'm crafting this. So I don't have one scare that I like, but there's a lot of them. This is such a wonderful industry and so many fun ways to scare.
Joseph, thanks you guys for your interactions in time, because it's been everybody has enjoyed it, and you got lots of love and thumbs up and hearts and smiles and laughs in the chat. So that's good.
Great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Tell
Ca-
everybody
uh,
where we can see you guys.
just I would say the Scaring with Sammy YouTube. Please take a look at that. Even yeah. It's not monetized, so it's not like I'm making any money on it, but I'm trying to get the idea of some of these techniques out there. And if people see them and they say, "Hey, this is working for me," or not, and you can always contact me. I'm Sammy Days on Facebook. Um, and of course you can find us at the Fright Nights at the South Florida Fairgrounds, and
Yep, Fright
possibly
Nights for me.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Fright Nights and Nightmare Village, and yep, my
Nightmare
name's David
Village.
Gricius. David Gricius. You can reach out to me whenever about anything actor related. But I'm there with Jonathan, so anything he's on, I'm there with him.
We love talking about haunting. So, and if somebody has a question, just you find us and you say, hey, or if you just whatever it is, we love this so much that
Anything,
what
anything,
anything
anything.
we
Anything
enjoy meeting other people that have the same passion and that love this.
Yeah, we do too. That's why we have one of these a month. So just keep it
Oh,
going.
we appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for having us on. I hope that people enjoyed it. I hope they found something new, even if
Well,
they don't agree with it, because
I
learning a new
know as
thing.
an actor manager, I have found stuff, just a couple of things, even just Dolly and Go Big. That alone is worth the price of admission for everything that you have taught us. And there's so much more. But those are two things that I'm going to take off to, my team and my actors, and we'll. I'm stealing your stuff, guys. I'm sorry.
Well,
It's nothing to steal. Nothing to
no,
steal.
I would love to, at some point I would love to hear what you do, because I'm always learning myself.
Yeah. Yes.
I scour books. I go through, all of my old actor, I'm still reading, Chekhov and Meisner. I'm still, and whatever I can find, Commedia dell'arte, anything I can find. So I would love to pick your brains as well, because I'm always learning.
Good.
That's
Thank you
that's
all
what we
very
tell
much.
our actors too. You have to be willing to learn, willing to listen, willing to try new things, and it just makes it that much easier. And me and Jonathan's been doing it for 15, 16 plus years, and that's what we tell our actors. If we're willing to learn and hear from different people, then you guys should too, and that's how you have more fun during this. And you get to meet a bunch of great people in the industry. It's a win-win no matter how you look at it.
Yep,
A
definitely.
couple of other comments people have mentioned. I find haunting is a form of therapy. So true. Well, for us,
Yep.
not for our guests, because they're the
No, it
ones
is
that
for the
need the
guests.
therapy. Well, it is too.
It
Yeah, in
is.
a way.
They can get scared in a safe place. I mean, this is amazing. The guests come to us and hopefully they're allowing themselves, or they're even not allowing themselves, but they're getting scared in a safe place. I mean, that is such I think it is therapy, even for the guests.
Yes.
Kim also mentioned, here's to an awesome season for 2025, and stay safe, everyone. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and talk about therapy, and you've mentioned it before about how actors will come in like they're upset with their boyfriend, scream it out. And I tell them a lot, well, I just had a bad day at work, or my kids are messing up, or my husband, is out drinking too late. So take that aggression, focus it, and just take it out tonight. Get it all out right now. So
Absolutely. If I have a bad day at work, then I'll pace back and forth after I'm in costume and makeup. I'll just think about all that, just get the adrenaline going, and then unleash it all when I'm seeing all the guests come through
so
in a
they're all
safe
my
way.
boss
But I
tonight.
unleash it all. Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
how I keep the energy going.
Everyone is Karen from accounting. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Daryl from IT.
some days, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
that's
guys.
almost 2 hours that we've been on here, guys.
Yeah,
This has
so.
been a wonderful session this afternoon or this evening, wherever you are. And we look forward to all of the folks watching it again on Facebook. I know I'm going to rewatch it. I've been unfortunately been looking down from the camera quite a bit because I have pages of digital notes. So we
Capturing
hope
it all.
everybody else. We hope everybody else got a lot out of this session. It will be published when and where, Brian?
And if you miss it tonight, it will be on top of our Hunter's Toolbox Facebook group for about, probably I'll leave it up until the next one, so it stays on top for about a month. It'll also be on our Haunt Topic Radio podcast. So if you miss it here, the audio version will be on our Haunt Topic feed. Go to your favorite podcast player, iTunes, type in Haunt Topic. This will be the next one. I think there might be one before this one, but we're gonna get this one out before September, September. So it'll be out. But you'll have a chance to use it on your scare actors this year. So
Great. Well, thank you guys very much, and thank you to Hunter's Toolbox as well. So
Yeah, thank you guys.
Jonathan.
Appreciate
It's
it.
been a pleasure, guys.
Appreciate your time and your experience and your knowledge.
Anytime.
absolutely.
Always a blast.
Have a great season, guys.
Thanks, you
You
guys.
too.
as
Thank you
well.
very much.
All right.
Bye.
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 This podcast episode sponsored by Scarlet Badges. Get your Scare Badges at scarebadges.com. Also sponsored by Hunter's Toolbox. Take your haunt to the next level at hunterstoolbox.com. Thank you for listening to Haunt Topic Radio. Please leave a comment wherever you found this podcast. Each comment you leave will help spread the word to other haunters around the world. See you next time.